My in-laws, 52MU50 Eve, insist on auditing our household budget and making financial decisions. I was raised by my parents to be responsible with money, and I've always felt comfortable discussing finances with them. My husband, however, grew up in a very different environment. His father died of cancer when he was only 16, leaving his mother financially ruined. She never remarried and struggled to make ends meet for years, but she managed to keep a roof over her head. When my husband was 18, she passed away from a stroke. He had no siblings, so he moved into an apartment with his best friend's family until he turned 21. They paid for him to go to community college, where he earned a degree in finance. He worked 2 jobs throughout high school and saved enough money to buy a car after graduation. He paid off that car before turning 25. When we got married 3 years ago, he insisted that we have joint accounts. I agreed because it made sense to me, especially since we're working together as a team. We decided that we would split bills 60-40, with the bigger portion going to the breadwinner. This worked well for us until last year when his parents retired. They had been living paycheck to paycheck their whole lives, and they finally get to retire. But they can't stop spending. My husband's mom has become obsessed with auditing our household budget and making financial decisions. She comes over every week to review our expenses, and she always finds something wrong with how we're doing things. She says we should be cutting back on luxuries like streaming services or dining out, and using that money to save for retirement instead. And while that makes some sense, my husband and I don't see eye to eye on this issue. If you're not rich, saving for retirement isn't possible. And if you do try to cut back on your quality of life, it feels like a pointless exercise. My husband's dad thinks we should be putting more into our savings account, even though it's already maxed out. He keeps saying we need to save up for emergencies, but I'm not sure what kind of emergency we'd need to prepare for. We live in a small town in the Midwest and nothing ever happens here. We just had a tornado scare last month, but that was just a warning system testing its sirens. We didn't actually have to go anywhere or hide under a bed. My husband says we need to be more careful about our spending habits, but I think we've gotten too caught up in this mindset that we're all going to die tomorrow. We can't afford to live without entertainment, and I'm starting to feel like I'm living in someone else's house. We are not poor people. We have a nice home, nice cars, and good health insurance. What more could we possibly want? We were invited to Thanksgiving dinner at my in-laws' house last weekend, and we both declined. My husband said we couldn't afford it, and his mom started crying and accusing us of being selfish. His dad told us we should just put the money aside for Christmas instead, but I'm not interested in buying anyone gifts. I think it's rude to expect people to spend hundreds of dollars on presents every year, and it doesn't help anything. People who really need help won't be getting any, and people who don't need any help will be stuck with unwanted junk. The argument ended with us deciding that we wouldn't be visiting them anytime soon. They called us ungrateful and spoiled brats, but I'm not apologizing for telling the truth. We're adults now, and we deserve to have control over our own lives. Update. Since the original post, I've received several comments suggesting that my husband may be mentally ill. I appreciate these suggestions, but I don't believe that's the case. My husband has no history of mental illness, and there hasn't been anything going on in his life lately that would suggest that he needs therapy.